What is going on? Thank you for tuning in to a special recap episode of the MMA Podcast. The MMA Podcast 169, the UFC 198 recap. One of the bigger cards of the year. It was a stadium show in Brazil, and there were a lot of big names headlined by the UFC Heavyweight Championship of the World, and we got a new champ, Stipe Miocic, defeating Fabricio Verdum. Jacare with a big win. Cyborg with a big win. Shogun with a big win. We will be breaking down the card, not your usual Wednesday card where we go through the whole week in MMA. Just going to be talking about the wild Brazil card, all the fallout. Thanks for tuning in. Let's do this shit.
You're listening to the MMA Podcast.
That's right, Lenny Hart is the MMA Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. I won't waste any time. Usually, it's just myself and P Money on Twitter at Sweet Pappy Jones doing the damn thing. But we're rolling with the old school crew tonight. It is myself. And we also have calling in from Ventura, the original host, dating back to TMP 1. It's your boy on Twitter at C. Lowenstein. It's Chris. What's going on, dude?
How you fucking booty do?
The booty do well. The booty do well, and it's doing even better because you know who else we got on the show tonight? We got probably the most asked for host. We got the word on the street on Twitter at the Aunt Jimmy Show. Ramses, what the hell is going on, dude? We got a lot of tweets, a lot of stuff to cover, but how the hell are you doing?
I have never been better, man. Thanks for having me on. The band is back together. Shout out to everybody. Where is P Money?
P Money right this second, I believe, is at work.
Is dead.
He's dead.
Yeah, I honestly didn't care, but it's just polite, I guess. On to MMA, though, but happy to be back. I have a little bit of podcast ring rust, so forgive me, but let's do this.
Let's do it, and I guess let's get straight to it. UFC 198, going to be breaking down the fights, especially the big fights, one by one. But before we get into it, what did you take from the card? I was a little bummed out about the late removal of Uriah Hall and Anderson Silva. I mean, Hall even flew all the way out to Brazil to fight. And I think it was just 2 or 3 days before the fight, Silva pulls out, needs emergency gallbladder surgery, so the fight never happens. Hall never gets a new fight and just flies back home. I think he got his show money. But, Chris, I'll throw it to you first. I fucking loved it. It was a stacked card. I enjoyed it. One of the more enjoyable cards I've seen, and, you know, I'm from what I'm seeing, 199, 200, and 201 will be big cards too, so I'm looking forward to the future, and I actually really enjoyed this one. Lots of big Brazilian names.
Ooh, amo hair. Ooh, amo hair. You will die in Portuguese, man. How intense was that? Seeing that crowd
50,000
every single time.
Were loud. Yeah.
Every single time a non-Brazilian came out, they got hit, they got bottles broken on their heads, they got spit on, little kids were flipping them off. It was fucking nuts, man.
Hostile crowd. Matt Brown knocked a guy out during the walkout.
Dude, the atmosphere, I think atmosphere has a lot to do with the fight, right? You guys remember UFC 129, GSP versus Shields? Remember the atmosphere of that card? It was giant. It was gigantic. I think it was 56,000 people or something. Atmosphere has everything to do with it. And the fact that we got Chris Cyborg making her debut, that was amazing. It was nice to see her finally, step up to the plate. I think she can destroy any woman on the planet. And Anderson Silva, it sucks, but I just told all my casual friends that he's dead. He died. kidney failure. They're like, oh, he's dead. I'm like, yeah, he died. Other than that, man, what did I take away from the fight? The whole card was awesome. I thought we can get into it later, but amazing feeling to it. I felt something. That card had a feeling. It had an emotion to it, and I fucking enjoyed it.
Well, it had a feeling to it. It had a smell to it. It stunk, in my opinion. Basically, the Uriah Hall versus Anderson Silva fight was going to be the fight to watch. Instead, we ended up with a mediocre fight.
How are you going to say it stunk after UFC Rotterdam? UFC Rotterdam stunk. You had nothing on the prelims. I mean, all right, it didn't stink because actually the main card was entertaining, but we've had some real shallow cards. I don't know if you can say this stunk. I mean, you had Damian Maia, who's maybe a fight away from, fighting for the belt on the damn prelims. You had just,
Lineker Fondue.
Lineker Fondue.
Oh, come on, man. We all know this card was supposed to have a super fight on it, and it was Uriah Hall.
All right,
against a Spider.
I will agree. I was most pumped up for that fight. That was gonna be a fun ass fight. But I mean, we still got a belt changing hands. We got a fight between Jacare and Vitor. We had
Another
Cyborg.
Yeah.
Cyborg. I don't know. I thought more of it than you do, I guess. All right. Well, we'll get into all the fights one by one, but first let's talk about those prelims, I guess. I want to save Maya
I
Brown.
have one thing to say. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
But the Spider Anderson Silva pulling out days before, having emergency gallbladder surgery. I'm sorry.
It was actually kidney failure. I didn't.
Oh, really? Well, it all has to do with processing fucking cholesterol, basically. And like the leading cause of that is, of course, just being unhealthy. But this is a 40-year-old healthy-ass fighter and like supposed to be in top physical condition. The other cause is, of course, chemical factors. I'm not saying that he might have been suffering from side effects from taking in substances, but I'm saying he might have been taking in substances. So I don't buy it. I think it was bullshit.
Blue vials of dick pills.
Yeah, apparently he doesn't know what he's taking, and
the devil's juice.
Yeah, so what causes gallbladder or kidney failure in a person who is otherwise been healthy and an athlete and training physically for 40 years? I'll leave that up to you guys. I'm sorry for Uriah Hall, but that's the reason I thought this UFC 198 card dropped the ball, and I was disappointed. But there were highlights. I'll give you that. So let's move on. Sorry.
Apparently Silva could be back in 6 to 8 weeks. Do you want to see the fight remade between Uriah and Anderson?
Well, yeah, but Anderson's running out of excuses. What's he gonna break? What's gonna go wrong for him?
I mean, Anderson isn't a guy who typically pulls out of fights. I still have to show the show. But yeah, I mean, I don't know.
My hip. Yeah. Okay, yeah, sure. His fucking leg got folded in half. I'll give him that. All right. So, but you're going up against a killer who has nothing to lose, everything to gain.
I'll give a guy a pass if he needs emergency surgery, and it'll be
But
interesting
did
to
he?
see. Dana White said he still has one more fight he wants to put on UFC 200. The 6-week timetable could work out for Anderson. I don't know if I would put him on 200 if I was running the show, just because after emergency surgery, I don't know if you necessarily want to rush
Supposedly.
things. But let's make Anderson Hall for late summer, maybe early fall. I still really want to see that fight. That's been a fight we've sort of kicked around since Uriah was in Tough 17 and he was murdering guys. And I think even Chael said something along the lines of, this dude could beat Anderson Silva. I don't know if he said specifically he could beat Anderson or he would be the middleweight champion, but either way,
He said you're going to be a champion.
yeah, we
Rest in
sort of
peace,
put
Adam
that
Silva.
fight through. Yeah, fucking that guy gets murdered on Tough 17 in the second round. Yeah, this is a fight we've kicked around for a while, and I don't want the UFC to move past it. I'd like to see them rebook it. Let's get to those prelims, though. 6 fights to talk about. I'll start from the bottom up. Renato Carneiro and Sergio Moraes, both actually Moraes getting a draw. It's a split draw, and Carneiro getting a split decision. I thought Carneiro won the fight 30-27. I don't know why there was a split, and I judged the Moraes fight 29-28 to Sergio. So couple questionable decisions there. The final fight on Fight Pass didn't need to go to the judges. Patrick Cummins gets TKO'd. That chin, man. He's been finished a few times now, and Little Nog beat him up. I think it was a good stoppage with 8 seconds to go in the first round. What else? And then the 3 fights on Fox Sports 1 I want to talk about. Like I said, I want to leave Maya for its own topic, because Maya fighting on the prelims is insane. I think, you could arguably give him a title shot next. But looking at those first 3 fights, John Lineker just throwing bombs against Rob Font, earns a well-deserved unanimous decision. Francisco Trinaldo, Jesus Christ, he absolutely put it on Yancey in the first and third rounds. I thought both of those were 10-8s. You could maybe argue the third round was a 10-7. Yancey looking scrappy in the second round, but in the first and third, just absolutely getting mauled. And unfortunately, talking about getting mauled, Nate Marquardt stepped in there, has not been looking good recently, and he stepped in there against a very capable-looking Thiago Santos, who wins his 4th fight in a row at middleweight. Thiago winning 3 minutes and 39 seconds into the first round. What did you take from that? Honestly, of those 6 fights, I guess Little Nog is going to be around for a little while longer. We all were wondering how long after his big brother hanging up his gloves, little bro would come following along. But apparently he's still got some juice in him. John Lineker looking like an absolute killer. Thiago Sanchez looking like an absolute killer. But Francisco Trinaldo, oh my God. Yancey boy is a good fighter. And Francisco Trinaldo absolutely turned him into mincemeat. Chris, what did you think of these prelims?
Little Nog beating up Patrick Cummins means nothing. Means nothing. Doesn't mean anything to you. It means nothing to Ramses. It means nothing to any of the listeners. Who fucking cares? Cummins has a suspect chin. He's a grinder. Dude's a wrestler. Takes people down and he beats them up. So fucking what? And old Little Nog knocked his ass out. I mean, who cares?
His only real wins are Kyle Kingsbury and a aging Rafael Cavalcante. The 4 real tests the UFC has given him in Cormier, OSP, Glover, and now Little Nog. He hasn't failed any or passed any of those tests.
Cummins is exactly the reason why the light heavyweight division is shallow. If a guy like that is in the top 10, you have a shallow division. I don't want to hate on the guy. I'm sure he's a good dude, but come on, son. I mean, the guy only wrestles. He doesn't deal damage. can't take a shot. I mean, what are we talking about here? We're talking about a 39-year-old that can barely walk. The dude's on a stretcher and he knocked him out. Like, it's garbage. So I don't really care about Little Nog. The fact that he's anywhere near the top 10 stinks. And the rest of the prelims, I liked Lineker putting on another show.
Heavy hands.
I agree, man. It it was garbage. It was compost. It was filth, trash, waste. Nog taking out Cummins. I know I wasn't gonna go there, but I have to think that either Patrick Cummins, whatever the fuck, I don't.
The barista.
even-
Just call him the barista. Barista.
Yeah, whoever. Yeah, the Starbucks guy, whatever. He either like does not. He's not fit for the UFC, or the fight was a work, people. I'm sorry, Big Nog. It's like, and this is like his third, I believe it's Pat's third loss in a row. I'd have to do my fact checking, but if so, it's see you later. Here's your paycheck time. So that was sad, but you
I hope
brought
Daniel
up.
Cormier hands him the last check.
Oh well, shit. He owes him a lot, man. That was his first fucking. Honestly, I think Pat was just a jobber. But that's my opinion only. It does not reflect anything expressed by the MMA podcast or Jake or Chris. It's just my opinion. I think he's a jobber, and as long as you're getting that paper, who gives a shit? It's sports entertainment. But the Trinaldo versus Yancey boy, Medeiros. The first round, Yancey, he took nonstop, like, basic two pieces. Like, he took the basic fucking left-right, the 1-2, and he fell for it every time. He got served up by Trinaldo. That's shit that's, like, inexcusable. It, like, the 1-2 is the first shit you learn, the first combo you learn, and he was falling for it. But the second round, he actually managed to come back. Like, Yancey, I'll give him credit, man. This dude was a fucking tough fighter. Like, he got back up every time. He dropped Trinaldo in the second round, but I mean, the third round was all Trinaldo. He threw everything at him. I think, actually, in the octagon, like, when somebody's, like, just pounding away and the guy won't go down, instead of the referee stepping in, they should have, like, in the WWE, like, the briefcase falls down, like, the money in the briefcase or whatever. Like, a kitchen sink should, like, sink down into the octagon. And then, like, the fighter should be able to just grab that shit and throw the fucking kitchen sink at him. That was what this fight was. I think it was the fight of the night. They should install a fucking kitchen sink in the octagon. And yeah, I just fucking said that. And our good friend had a tweet. I don't know if you caught it, Jake. But that's all I have to say about the early prelims, except the Sergio Morales versus Liu Kang, whatever. It was a draw. I actually like that because we need to see more draws. Honestly, like, everyone thinks there has to be a resolution, but sometimes, man, like, you ever seen, like, street fights where people just last like 30 seconds and they're like, okay, I'm not in the UFC. I can't last more than 30 seconds. And the other guy's like, yeah, neither can I. Like, I'm already fucking tired after swinging. Like, and they just like
Fall off
they're just like,
Pelele.
yep, they're just like, all right, man.
Let's just lay here and chill.
Yep, yep. It's
Netflix
like
and
you,
chill in
you
the
don't
cave.
win, I don't win. Nobody's backing down, but we ain't got the cardio. We ain't trained. Like that was that fight. It. The point is that needs to be more draws in the UFC. I was glad to see one happen, especially
Yeah.
in a country like Brazil where everything has to be one or the other.
I think there should be more draws, more 10-10s, more 10-8s. I feel like judges too often are sort of compelled to score to 10-9 when maybe one fighter earned a 10-8 or the other fighter fought well enough to earn a 10-10. I mean, it's, 10-10 doesn't need to mean it was exactly perfect. Like, I think you've got to earn a 10-9, and if you just barely squeeze out a round, that's a 10-10. Like, I think you've got to earn a round. But that's a whole nother story. We actually did get a few tweets, Ramsey, so you're right. When we were talking about Anderson Silva and his next opponent, our boy Davey Boy on Twitter at DAVEI_BOI tweeted in Vitor versus Silva 2. That could be a possibility in fall. I'm sure the Brazilian fans would love that. I think they're doing... No, they don't have a Brazilian card scheduled. But I'm hearing someone blowing a raspberry. I guess, Chris, you're not a fan of the idea. That's why I said Chris.
Vitor Anderson 2. Do you guys really want to see that? Two old-ass men.
I would much rather see Hall versus Silva. And actually,
exactly.
Our girl Jen at JM Adams 03 also says, I'm thinking rebook Silva versus Hall, since they pulled Hall and Anderson won't be out long, August or September. Let's jump to the next fight, the fight that was the featured fight on the prelims on Fox Sports 1, Damian Maia versus Matt Brown. And I saw a lot of people picking Matt Brown, saying, oh, Maia's got great jits against, good wrestlers with really stiff punches. Damian Maia, absolutely. I mean, Jesus Christ, that guy basically was a backpack on Matt Brown for the entirety of the fight. It was maybe even going into 10-8. I mean, Brown couldn't do anything. Maia just kept the back, kept going for subs, ended up getting a rear naked choke with 30 seconds left in the third and final round. Man, I don't want to say it was a boring fight, but it was kind of a boring fight. I mean, I was very interested in the result because Damian Maia has been absolutely murdering people, and I want to talk about his title hunt, because I think he legitimately could be the most deserving contender at welterweight now, having won 5 in a row, 4 of those against world-class opponents. He beats Alexander he loses to Jake Shields and Rory McDonald back-to-back in decisions, and since has won 5 in a row, beats Alexander Yakovlev, decisions Ryan LaFleur, chokes out Neil Magny in the second round, decisions Gunnar Nelson, makes him look like an absolute scrub at UFC 194, and then chokes out Matt Brown just yesterday. The guy is on a run. I think it's ridiculous that they put him on the prelims, and Maia sort of made a statement to that effect before the fights. But this dude is looking like a killer at welterweight. I would not want to be the guy to fight him next. I think both Jen and Allen at Westland Eagle AH are saying that Damian Maia should get the next title fight, because I guess Robbie Lawler and Tyron Woodley, we've actually talked about that fight kind of in depth on the show, and that's the rumor for UFC 201, but apparently the details haven't really been hammered out quite yet, and it's not official yet. So before you put the stamp on it, do you want to reevaluate things and think, do we want to, slot in Damian Maia, who maybe deserves the fight a little bit more than Tyron Woodley, who I think if you look at it on paper, Maya 5 in a row, Woodley I believe 2 in a row. Like, I would give it to Maya for sure currently. But what did you think of the fight, and what do you think about Damian Maya potentially fighting for a belt?
First thing I want to say is that you are ridiculous for thinking that fight was boring. That fight was amazing. That was a masterclass performance. Just because it wasn't the action fight that we expect from Matt Brown. Come on, man. I mean, Damian had it fucking locked up from start to finish. I mean, the way he took the back, the way he backpacked him, like you said, the way he rolled, the way he threw punches into choke attempts. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful performance. I enjoyed Damian Maya, especially at 170. At 185, he was a middle of the tier guy. At 170, he's dope. He's the dopest dope you ever smoked. And as far as him as a contender and where he goes from here, I think he is more deserving than Tyrone Woodley. Tyrone Woodley hasn't fought since January 2015, and he beat Kelvin Gastelum, and barely by a split decision. How the hell does he deserve a title shot over Damian Maya? Damian Maya all the way. Give that man a title shot. Damian Maya versus Robbie Lawler. I'm in 100%. That is such a strange matchup. It seems lopsided, striker grappler. But I think it can make for some good stuff.
And really quickly, Ramses, before you say anything, to sort of complete my thought before, Woodley and Maya both have a shared most recent loss. Both of them, their most recent loss is Rory McDonald at UFC 170 for Damian Maya and 174 for Tyron Woodley. Both of those fights in 2014. Since then, Damian Maya 5-0, wins against LaFleur, Magny, Nelson, Brown. Woodley 2-0. He knocks out Dong Young Kim, and most recently split decision against Kelvin Gastelum about a year and a half ago. And yeah, he was supposed to fight Johnny, and Johnny backed out, and there's nothing really Woodley could do about that. But I mean, the fact of the matter is, we haven't seen him in the cage since January 2015. It's been a while. So for that too, I would slot Damian Maya in instead of Woodley. Ramses, what did you think about Damian Maya doing his best backpack impression for 14 and a half minutes?
I have to agree with CeeLo here, man. I think it was an exciting fight, and that's from a guy that doesn't put up with like fights that don't finish. And just a quick shout out, I hope she's still listening, Jen. Why don't you just Skype in or call in? Just, you don't even have to, like, you can like give a fake name, whatever. Join in. I tried to look up like my Skype
Don't
phone
be scared.
number. Apparently I
I did forget to
right
mention. I forgot to mention at the top of the show, if you are listening live, you can always call in 213-457-3380 or Skype us at The MMA Podcast. Or, as you've heard, if you just tweet us at The MMA Podcast, we'll typically catch it and read your tweet and give you a Twitter shout-out live on the air.
But I'd like to
Shout
talk
out to
her,
John
man.
Bon Jovi. What up, cocksucker?
I'd like to talk to her. You don't even have to give your real name. It doesn't matter. Like, girl, just sorry for the profanity. Just fucking call in, man. Can you give that number out one more time in the Skype?
213-457-3380. Skype is The MMA Podcast. Shout out to John Bon Jovi. Shout out to friend Tim Frontkick, Technics88, Super Calo, Just Bleed MMA. What up, cocksuckers?
FRB, everybody. Even Lexi. But yeah,
Aww.
I got nothing but love, man. The Damian Maya Matt Brown fight, man, it was exciting to me, just because like he got him so many. Maya got Brown in so many positions where he was ready. You were thinking, all right, this is it. He's just gonna choke him out, whatever. But Brown actually showed some fucking skills. He had an impressive ground game against a fucking jiu-jitsu submission master, quote. Brown dropped Maya in round 3 also. But I think part of me thinks Maya let that happen, faked, oh, I'm rocked, I'm on the ground, come and get me. He did it twice, just baiting him.
We've seen Verdum do that a couple of times where he gets punched and sort of falls sort of stiffly, making the guy think, he's not with it, and the guy rushes into attack, and next thing you know, the guard's up and you're getting choked.
Yep. And you notice how he finished Matt Brown. He tricked him at the end. He raises up his arm, straight up. He raises his arm up to distract Matt Brown, and then he chokes him out with the other arm. He sneaks it the other arm under his neck. That's what he did. That was a good tactic that I don't think we've ever seen before. It was genius. He raises one arm up, Matt Brown's looking at it, and then he sneaks the other one up under, and if you watch the replay. So it was basically what jiu-jitsu should be, a chess match. And Matt Brown was impressive in defending for 3 rounds.
Amen.
Definitely. And I'm not a guy who likes boring fights, but this one was not, because if you have an understanding of jiu-jitsu, you'll see that this fight was a showcase of how you defend, how you adapt and improvise, and then ultimately trick your opponent into falling into your trap. I thought it was excellent. Aside from the Yancey whatever fight, they should have split the fight of the night bonus.
Can I butt in here?
Yeah,
guys?
Yeah.
Of
course, with your dead on Deadpool voice. I gotta give you credit for that.
Ryan Reynolds here.
Yeah.
Let's be real. It wasn't fair to Matt Brown when he was walking out that he got hit in the head 3 times.
That was actually
That's not fair. That's not fair.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I wasn't going to move on to the next fight until we talk about the Matt Brown walkout. Matt Brown gets slapped in the head multiple times. A guy reaches out, grabs his hood. Matt Brown physically turns around and throws a punch. I don't know if any of us know how flush it really landed. It looked like it landed pretty flush. Apparently the guy got taken out of the arena. Chris, I don't know if you remember me bitching about this back in 2012, but I have literally been making a stink about this for 3 or 4 years now. It's about fucking time they widen those lanes, because if the lanes are still, especially in a stadium Brazil fight, you already got 45K in the fucking place. What if you just, remove maybe 1 seat in every row on either side of the walkout, so people aren't close enough to where they can still, with 5 guards around, reach out and swing, punch, steal hat, grab hoodie. I don't care what it is. Fans,
would you want people touching you?
Fans at UFCs, I don't know what the listener percentages are as far as how many listeners have been to a UFC, but typically the ones in Vegas I've been to, you have pretty raucous crowds, a lot of alcohol, a lot of tap out shirts, a lot of aggression in the building, and the fact that they're not putting fighter safety first and extending these walkout, aisles just by maybe 5 feet. Yeah, you lose maybe 100 seats doing that, because I mean, the way I see it, the risk you're taking is it's like, all right, let's just keep doing this until someone gets actually hurt. Imagine if someone is walking out and gets punched in the face and gets a bloody nose. Imagine if a dude punches a chick walking out. I mean, it's all possible when you have fans within striking distance.
What about a baby? What if
we have a baby division in the UFC? And no, it's absolutely ludicrous that aisles are still this small. But I don't know. I don't know if I really think it took away from Brown. It looks like he maybe got slapped, in the back of the head.
Dude, think about the focus it takes to walk. Not only to walk into battle, into a cage.
BJ Penn got kissed.
But
he fought GSP.
Yeah, but you're walking to a cage to do battle in front of a adversarial crowd. So that's bad enough. So you're going to go fight a guy who is a terrible matchup. And on the way there, you get hit 3 times, and you don't think that has an effect on the fight? 100% that has an effect on the fight. I think Matt Brown would have done better in that fight if that hadn't happened. I honestly do. That's my own take.
And apparently there was a story coming out of his hotel that like an ex-training partner or coach like came up on Brown like today in the hotel, and the guy got jumped by Brown and his crew and later arrested. I mean, just seeming like a really poor weekend for Matt Brown and camp. Ramses, what did you make of Brown not only getting slapped a few times, but that last dude getting blasted in the face after yanking on his hoodie? Like I said, not a very good night for Matt Brown.
I thought he took the fucking loss, but as far as it not being a good night, no, he went up against a fucking jiu-jitsu submission master in that person's home territory, and he fucking went basically the distance until he just got caught, but he actually held his own, which everybody expected. Like in round 1, you thought that chokeout was coming. You thought he was gonna tap, but no, this motherfucker Matt Brown, dude. And I used to make fun of him for being mediocre, but he proved himself, man. I think he proved a lot of shit. As far as the fan, that was a total fucking security failure on every level. I don't blame Matt Brown at all for swinging at the person. I'd have to rewatch the video, but we all know how it works here. Like if someone touches you and throws the first one, touches you, you're justified in hitting them. Like he was assaulted several times. So if he faces any sort of penalty, I will stop watching the UFC forever. I'm sorry. That was just total bullshit. Security was not on point. The crowd was out of control. Matt Brown was totally justified. And he did the best he could against all odds, like fucking Phil Collins.
Do you agree with Chris saying it maybe took him out of the fight?
Definitely, because it pissed him off. And you never want to fight angry. So yes. But would he have won and beat Damian Maia? I honestly don't think so. But we'll never know. But it was bullshit, and it was unfair. It did give Maia the advantage because Matt Brown was pissed off. I mean, if you're fucking walking out and you're taking a swing at like someone in the crowd, that tells you all you need to know. You're pissed off. You don't do that like just oh, I'm gonna look cool and just take a swing at somebody on national television in front of millions of people. Like, you're pissed off, and yeah, maybe even and yeah, credit to Front Row Brian. Just look up his repost of the video. The dude that took the
And
swing at Matt Brown getting his ass kicked. I
and
retweeted it also, but I'm not plugging my shit. Go on.
I forget if we got this answer from you, but we have now Damian Maya. We have Woodley, who was originally going to get the shot at 201. You're going to have the winner of Rory McDonald and Stephen Thompson, who are fighting, I think, June 18th, so about a month from now. Who do you think you slot in next to fight Robbie Lawler at 170?
Honestly, shit, man. I'd like to see it just. I want to go like option C and just give Kelvin the title shot right
This
now.
is how the top 10 is currently working out. We got Lawler, the champ. Rory is 1 and Wonder Boy's 2. So you would think the winner of that, rankings-wise, would get it. You have Woodley at 3. Carlos Condit, the guy who most recently got a crack at the title, 4. Johnny Hendricks, 5.
That's boring.
Damian Maya, 6. He'll probably crawl back up. And then Magny, Matt Brown, Dong Young Kim, and Safin Brown will obviously drop. Gastelum, 12. He might move up a spot with Matt Brown losing. But yeah, a lot of options. I think the one, I don't know, Rory and Robbie, the last time they fought, it was absolute fireworks. I'm saying Maya probably has deserved it more than Woodley. And what would seem to make the most sense, just looking at the UFC rankings, the winner of Rory McDonald and Stephen Thompson, you just never know. Will the winner of that fight be banged up? Will he have a 6-month medical suspension because he got battered up a ton? And you want to give Robbie Lawler a fight, here in the in the next few months and not be hung up on waiting for somebody to fight him. If the winner of Rory and Wonder Boy comes out, spotless and ready to fight again soon, then maybe him. But I don't know if you want to wait another month to schedule a title fight. It's a weird place welterweight's in currently.
Maybe Thompson, Lawler, but it's like, do you really? I guess some people want to see that, but I mean, if.
Do you think Thompson's going to beat Rory?
Yeah, definitely. Rory, and also Rory versus Lawler. Like, how many times are we gonna watch the same thing? To quote Renato Larancha, how many times are we gonna watch the same thing? That's why they canceled Fear Factor. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But what my case is. When
Kelvin will get a shot eventually. We don't need to rush things. We don't need to rush things. He's very young. There's no reason he needs to skip the line. He lost to Woodley. He is on a mission, and he will get a title shot, but he's got plenty of time. I do think he is a future champ. Dude's got plenty of time.
You haven't heard my argument, though. His next fight is against who?
That would be Kelvin Gastelum versus Johnny Hendricks at UFC
exactly.
200.
So if he beats Johnny Hendricks, my argument is he should get a title shot. It's more interesting. It's new. We haven't seen it before. Robbie Lawler versus. We've seen it. We've seen it, man. And Stephen Thompson. Maybe I'll go with that.
We haven't seen Lawler Maya. We haven't seen Lawler Wonder Boy.
Lawler Maya? What the fuck are you talking about, man?
I'm talking about Damian Maya potentially getting a title fight. He's won 5 in a row.
Oh, no.
4 of those wins.
Oh, no. He'll never get another title shot, man.
After Anderson?
Yes. Laying on his back, just waiting for shit. Come on, man. If he does, that shows you the desperation of the organization. But no, man. If Kelvin like definitively whoops Johnny Hendricks' ass, the former champion's ass, he should get that title shot, in my opinion. Why not? Why the fuck not do it? It's Robbie Lawler versus the old school versus the new school. What else
Yeah,
is there? You got the Americans against the Mexicans. And you know what I'm saying?
You were
It's
making a
fucking
point
outlaw,
until
dude.
you started getting into the nationalistic talk. I did.
Whatever. Who gives a fuck? It's the truth, man. Like I said, man, you can't fuck with the truth. That's the quote, the great Patrice O'Neal. But yeah, if he beats the former champion, like in a way that is like, oh my god, he wiped him out, he should get the title shot, dude. Motherfucker's on a mission, man. Shout out to KG. And yeah, I am biased. He's a friend of mine. Who gives a fuck? What I said was...
To wrap up thoughts on Maya Brown, the hotel scuffle I talked about, it was Rodrigo Botti, who was called an absolute psycho by Brown's wife, I guess, on Twitter. A former coach of Matt Brown who tried to attack Brown at a hotel now being held by the police after getting whooped by Brown's entourage there in Brazil. That wraps up the prelims. Let's move to the main card, a fight between Warley Alves and Brian Barberena. And once again, Brian Barberena, the huge underdog, faces the undefeated Warley Alves and does away with him. Alves now 10-1. I'm looking back to how I actually rewatched the card and wrote down how I scored this. Scrolling. Yeah, I actually scored the first round to Warley Alves. I thought the first round was pretty clear to Warley. I thought the third round was pretty clear to Brian Barberena, and it's how you score that second round. I thought Brian showed the control to win the second round. I thought it could have been a 10-10. I really could have seen a 29-29 draw here. Because round one, so obviously a 10-9 for Warley. Round three, very obviously 10-9 for Barberena. And round two, very close. I gave it to Barberena by a nose. Alves kept trying to clinch with Brian and really had no success holding him where he wanted to be. So I scored at 29-28 Barberena. I think the right guy won. I was surprised Barberena won, to be honest, because with fights that close in Brazil, you usually see a little bit of home cooking, and that's not to say the judges are corrupt, but to say maybe the crowd noise just innately kind of influences you, makes you think that the hometown guys' strikes landed a little harder because of the applause, and maybe the visiting fighter not as well because he's not getting the kinds of cheers and reactions as the hometown guy. But Brian Barberena wins, defeats Warley Alves via unanimous decision. Chris, what do you think of the match?
You know what? I honestly,
Tell
the
the
only
truth.
the only thing I can say about this fight is I love their spirit. I like the spirit of the fight. Both guys came in for a war, and when you see two guys go back and forth.
Was that
like
a bullshit cough?
Yep.
Look, Jake. I'm sorry, but I literally did not watch this fight, and I suspect CeeLo didn't either. I'll put that out there.
I was just trying to.
So neither of you guys watched this. Okay,
Yeah,
we'll
I was
move on.
trying to,
Brian Barberena is seemingly the prospect killer now, getting 2 victories. Man, y'all do not know about Brian Barberena. He is a fucking killer.
That's why I didn't watch the fight, man. Like, who? What? Fargo
And
who?
and he's not the
What?
reason you should have been watching. You should have been watching for the 10-0
Barbara
Warley
Walters?
Alves. Warley
Barbara
Alves 10-0, fucking 2 straight beautiful chokes in a row. Y'all do not know what is going on currently in MMA. Goddamn.
Y'all must have forgot.
Y'all must have forgot. Then we had Shogun versus Corey Anderson. Do you all know who Shogun Hua is? He fought in Pride.
Is that
He
the
had
guy
the
with
UFC
bump
belt
jeans?
once. It's the gold thing that Dana puts
Oh.
around your waist. Yeah, Shogun. Have you guys heard of him?
He's the guy who used to do the stomps.
Exactly. Fighting Corey Anderson, the underdog. They gave this one to him via split decision. I scored it 29-28 Anderson. I don't know if Shogun really deserved this. He stole the first round at the very end of it. Did something
Are you out of
similar
your
round
mind?
2.
Shogun lost that fight. Are you out of your fucking mind?
I just said that I scored the fight 29-28 to Corey Anderson. I don't know if you're listening to an alternate universe recording of this, but I gave the first round to Shogun Hua, 10-9. I thought he stole that round. And then in the second round, he did similar things, but I thought Corey Anderson had done enough before that to win the second round. So I scored the second round 10-9 Anderson. I saw a couple people saying that Hua stole the first and second round, and I guess that's what the judges were going on. Like I was talking about crowd noise before, maybe the crowd just erupted so hard both times that the judges scored both the first and second round to Shogun, but round 3 was very obviously a 10-9 Beast in 25-8 round. I thought it was a clear 29-28. 2 of the 3 judges disagreed and scored it to Shogun, so I thought Corey Anderson got screwed here. It sounds like you agree, Chris?
It's kind of hard actually to judge a fight like that because of I would say the minutia. You have a grinder versus an aggressive guy, so they cancel each other out, and it becomes a stalemate. That was a stalemate fight. It was a stale fight. It wasn't much fun. It was ugly. It was dirty, and it's really hard to know like what do you put emphasis on. Shogun had those awesome leg kicks, no doubt, but Corey fucking took him down and beat him up. So I mean, how the fuck do you give Shogun that fight? Shogun spent most of the fight on his back getting his ass handled. And the fact that he won makes me wonder who is paying off that Brazilian commission. Like, for real.
He said it, so
unreal.
I didn't have to.
That is
Thank you.
unfucking real that Shogun won. And Shogun is one of my favorite fighters of all time. My best friend, it's his favorite fighter. And yet, I'm sitting here scratching my head. How the fuck did that happen?
That's another reason why I'm saying like there should be more draws in the UFC. The Shogun that we saw was better. I'll give him credit for that. Like he did hold his own, but a part of you is like, man, Corey Anderson should be able to just bring this guy down and just wallop him. Like Hulk style, like, but he didn't. It was like a part of him was like just almost carrying him, and then the judging, it was in Brazil. Like, I'm not calling it a work, but I'm calling it a work. Basically, I mean, Shogun,
The fight
man,
was a work, people.
that was a drop. Yeah.
Standard.
Yep. No, but it was entertaining, which is why the UFC should just fucking put all their cards on the table, declare it sports entertainment. This fight clearly, at least should have been a draw, because Shogun, man, he's got nothing left. Even like, I bet I could whoop his ass, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I agree.
No, I mean, I bet I could whoop his ass. Like, I don't even.
You're out of your mind if you think that's real.
This guy is fucking taking arthritis medicine
He's
every
got
morning. I
knees made out of
guarantee.
paper mache.
Yeah, like how many,
What,
how
like
many, how many,
swans?
how many broken bones has he had? Like, how many Advils, whatever does he take every day besides regular painkillers that he has to piss out, flush out?
No, he drinks his own
Speculation,
piss. Yeah.
speculation on my part. But yeah, the fight was mediocre. I'll say it again. Yeah, you're right on, Jake. The judging, it's Brazil, dude. Of course, who was gonna win? And Corey Anderson, it was very suspect how he did not absolutely destroy this man. Destroy this man. So, my my Bravo Sierra detector was definitely going off, and that's the word on the street. That's all I'll say about that.
That's
Jake,
the
can
word.
I
and that-
step in?
Yeah,
Can I
yeah,
step
yeah,
in?
yeah.
Real quick. I've wanted to say this for a long time. I've been saving it up. I would love to touch the tail end of the crack pipe that those fucking judges were smoking. I bet you it's warm to the touch.
It's green
Red
and
hot,
it
son.
tastes like
It's blue.
mint paper money. All right, that's what they're smoking, or melted down silver coins. You know what I'm saying?
Mayan gold.
Money.
Mayan gold.
That brings us to the most anticipated debut on the card. I think one of the only debuts on the card. Chris Cyborg fighting Leslie Smith at 140 pounds. Shout out to Smith for being brave enough to take the fight. I don't think it was necessarily a bad stoppage. I think the ref maybe could have let it go another couple seconds. I don't think we would have really seen much else happen there. I'm not mad about it. I think if the fight's getting close to getting stopped, 81 seconds in, I don't really see any way Leslie Smith would have rallied and won that fight. I think it was Cyborg's fight easily. So I'm not going to give the ref any issues. Cyborg's, just walking in, absolutely doing what she does, demolishing her opponent. The one thing I was sort of concerned about, she asked for another catchweight fight after, and I don't think she gets how this works. I don't think she realizes, we're bringing you in at 140 because you're eventually going to fight at 135. You're going to fight these fighters like Jermaine de Randamie, Holly Holm, Kat Zingano, Ronda Rousey, Miocic Tate, Amanda Nunes. A lot of talent at 135. We're not just going to let you be out here on your own little island at 140 and send out crappy bantamweights for you to murder every 3 months. She's going to need to cut to 135 to continue fighting in the UFC. And, man, if she can do that, apparently her cut at first was, going very smoothly, and then it was going very not so smoothly, and I don't know what changed. But if she can make 135, there are a lot of options. I mentioned a bunch of them just now. I would really like to see Cyborg fight a lot of these strikers at women's 35 because there are a few of them. I guess I'm just looking forward to seeing if the UFC gives her an actual opponent next to her, is going to let her crush another can, stay, maybe do another fight at 40, maybe do a fight at 38. I don't know. Chris, what did you make of the fight and, of course, Cyborg's future with the UFC?
Calling it right now. Money on it. You can put down some coin on the craps table for me. We're going to see Holly Holm versus Cyborg for a number one contender against the winner of Misha versus Nunes. Calling it right now. 100%. Totally stoked for it. Cyborg made 139, so she can lose 4 more pounds. I think this is the motivation she needed. She got a win. She destroyed a tough chick in the UFC. So we're going to see her paired up against somebody who's tough, right? So who's tough in 135? What's a good fight? They want Cyborg to fight the champ. Who's tough? Holly Holm doesn't have a fight. Holly Holm versus Cyborg, number 1 contender. I'm calling it right now.
Talk about that striking matchup, dude. Oh my god.
Yeah, I really like I like the thought of seeing that too, because Holly is the counter striker. She moves back, she angles, she has beautiful head kicks, wonderful boxing, and then you have Cyborg, who's like a hurricane. So yeah, we got Holm versus Cyborg, man. I'm stoked, and I'll tell you what, if that matchup gets made, you owe me a beer.
All right, deal. I will buy you a beer. My fight will be Zingano. If the next fight is Cat versus Chris, then you owe me a beer.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's actually a
Muay
really
Thai
good one.
Superstars, yeah.
That's a good one.
Ronda,
Look,
maybe? Who
guys.
knows? Ramses, yeah.
Yeah, I'll spell it out, man. This was a layup fight. I give all the credit in the world to Leslie Smith for showing up for her own funeral. Like, a catch weight. I'm sorry. Like, it was probably written in your contract, like, you're gonna die.
Your funeral?
Yeah,
Spelled
like,
out, ooh, vai moher.
Ooh, Vamo hair. She's like, what is that? Never mind. Don't worry.
yep. I'll just sign whenever. Here's the money amount. I'm sure she got paid. But yeah, I'm not saying it was a work. It was just, it was arranged to the point where it would take a miracle for Cyborg to lose, because obviously, Cyborg came with a fucking heavy price. So what else could you expect but an easy fight, first fight, layup, domination. And I would be surprised if they even tried to fake a drug test, because, I mean, look at her. Like, she weighed in officially at 139, and you're telling me she can't lose 4 pounds. That is suspect in and of itself. What the fuck? Like, you can't lose 4 pounds. All right. Yeah, I don't know what Leslie weighed in at. I haven't even checked. It doesn't matter to me because it was a layup setup fight. I suspect Cyborg will fight basically everybody. She'll go up against fucking Ronda, Misha, Holly Holm. Chris named someone else, so I already forgot about Nunez. Whatever. It doesn't matter. They locked down Cyborg, and they gave her the first win. They gave her the confidence. They gave her the money.
They gave her the win. They gave her that. She didn't earn it? Come on, guy.
I'm saying the odds were stacked heavily in her favor right off the bat when you say catch weight. Like, that's game over. You know? Like,
True enough.
I believe
like-
she was one of the biggest favorites in the history of the sport at, like, what, minus 1700?
minus 1400 is what I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as Hanato would say, I stand corrected.
Yep. So I'm just saying, the first fight was a layup, an obvious setup, and she's gonna fight everybody because she's a draw. She's basically the Bizarro Ronda Rousey, and I mean that in that she has all of Superman's powers, but she's not very attractive, and I'm sorry, and I apologize to her, but I'm just telling it like it is. That's the word on the street. That's why she's
gross.
That's why she's never been as popular, and she's obviously... Okay. Hypothetically, I suspect she is on some substance. Alright?
She has been popped before, but I'm sure she will be tested rigorously with the UFC.
She is a
I'll
post-op
wait.
tranny.
I'll wait till that comes
Ooh,
out.
That's rough.
I'll
That's a
wait.
little
I'll
rough.
wait. I'll wait till that comes out.
Let's
But if
let's
she's
let's
tested,
for everything good and holy move on to the co-main event: Jacare versus Vitor Belfort.
corporate Jake.
Man, yeah, corporate Jake in the house. Jacare just I don't know, man. I'm not trying to be over corporate or sensory or like censor people here, but I just think it's like, man, when it comes down to it, Chris Cyborg's a woman, and
Yeah.
She was
I'm
gonna
all
beat
down.
her ass no matter what.
I'm all down
Yes.
for like non-tasteful jokes, but when you call a woman like a dude in a post-op train, it's like, damn, that's
did
as
not-
like
I did
that's
not-
as hardcore an
I'll
insult
tell you
as you
what.
can
I'm
serve up.
sorry. I am sorry.
You don't need to
I apologize
apologize.
to her.
We're-
I
yeah,
apologize to her.
I don't know, man. It's just not a lot of love in the air for Cyborg Santos. Let's move on though. Jacare just absolutely putting it to Vitor. The fight got stood up initially just to make sure that Belfort wasn't cut too badly. It gets put back to the ground. Vitor gets it stood back up, and then pulls guard, which it's a move that seems familiar since Belfort left Pride back like a decade ago. He's only lost 4 fights, to Anderson, to Jones, to Weidman, to Souza. Anderson was obviously that front kick we've all seen a million times since. In the John Jones, Chris Weidman, especially the Weidman fight, and especially the Jacare fight, it seems like Vitor kind of gave up in all of those fights, sort of just getting dominated on the ground and letting it go to the ground. I mean, the Weidman and Jacare fights were very similar. Vitor just seemed to kind of give up and let it go to the ground and let his opponent finish it with top mount, with ground and pound. Jacare now, I think, should be next in line for the winner of Weidman Rockhold. I think that makes the most sense. But Jacare, absolute killer. I think he rounds out the best 3 middleweights in the UFC pretty obviously at this point. I've said it a million times, but I'll say it again. I scored Jacare Romero 29-28 Jacare. I think he's deserved a title shot for a long time, and I really hope his next fight is a title shot. I think he's done enough to earn it with a win against Vitor here. And I'm all about that Jacare mania. I mean, shit, since he's joined the UFC, the guy has been on fire. He's 9-1 in his last 10 fights. The only loss being that split decision fight that I think he won. And Romero ended up testing positive, but yet it's still a loss in Jacare's record. I don't know why they don't overturn that to a no contest. Weird Vegas rules. I'm not sure, NSAC rules. But give the next shot to Jacare for sure, because he absolutely walloped your boy Vitor the Phenom Belfort. Chris, what do you think?
I love Jacare. I love that guy. I mean, how can you hate a dude that has knockouts and submissions and has like this insane ground game? I mean, you watch him move, and they call him the crocodile. That's what Jacare means. They call him that, ironically. I know why they call him that. It's not because of his crawl. It's because he's so strong, he can pull himself up on a rope with one arm. That dude is so strong, he can pull himself up with one arm. That is nuts. So, yeah, I'm high on Jacare as well. I'm high on that Jacare. He's an amazing fighter. I have nothing bad to say about him. He had a awesome performance. And the only thing I have to say about Vitor is hopefully we can start up a new name for him, a new nickname. And I hate to shit on fighters, but I hope you guys support me. Can we all agree that Vitor from now on is Cheetor Foldfort?
Yes.
Well, he's not cheating anymore. That's his problem. Like, all I have to say about the fucking fight is, Jacare Souza. Like, it was just fucking Vitor got his ass whooped. All right, he just straight up got his ass whooped. Is Souza from like Brazil? I didn't really look into it. Okay, so it was like a win-win for the UFC either way the Brazilian wins. So they gave Vitor a chance. He absolutely got demolished, embarrassingly. And what was he doing showing up with that fucking beard? I hate to go personal and like pick on his appearance, but his Vitor's fucking beard looked like he was trying to look like Kelvin Gastelum mixed with fucking Mr. T with the fucking mohawk, and he got his ass handed to him easily. So Sousa, he like definitely Jacare. Yeah, he definitely made an impression. Which he should have had a title shot. Like, has he ever had one before? I don't even fucking know. He should have had
in the
one.
UFC. No, I was actually gonna ask you both because Chris didn't say about his title chances. Do you guys think that he should get a title shot next? Like I said, he's yet to fight for a UFC title.
Yes.
Chris says yes.
There you go.
I say yes.
Yes.
Ramses,
Yes.
are you gonna make it a trifecta?
I agree.
There's no one else deserving. Romero's out. He's a cheater. Who do we have? Bisping? Really? Yeah. No.
No, yeah, I don't think. Currently, you got Rockhold, Weidman, Jacare next in the rankings, Vitor next, who obviously was just defeated by Jacare soundly. Then Bisping, Silva, Robert Whitaker, Machida, Mousasi, Tim Kennedy, and then your boy Uriah Hall rounding out the top 10.
What a slim-ass division.
I'd like to. Have they ever fought before? Bisping and Souza? I don't know.
No.
I'd like to see that one.
Why would you like to see that?
Jacare
What?
would pound Michael Bisping to ground beef.
Did you see Kung Lee's fucking face?
That's Kung Lee.
Did you see Bisping beat the fuck out of Anderson Silva?
Kung Lee's a bomb.
Kung Lee is an old-ass bum. He was 40 years old when little Michael Bisping hit him for like 20
Little
minutes.
Bisping is also up there, and he beat the fuck out of Kung Lee and Anderson Silva.
Michael
right?
Bisping is
Give
a
him credit.
bum.
Give
He'll
him
always
credit.
be a bum, and he'll never, ever be a champion.
I think-
of anything.
He beat the spider. He beat the spider.
I think if he got 100 fights against Jacare, 100 fights against Weidman, and 100 fights against Rockhold, Michael Bisping goes 0-300.
Well,
I don't
see it though.
Yes, thank
don't
you.
Don't you want to
Thank
see
you.
that? Doesn't Michael Bisping,
No, I
after
think-
beating the spider, at least deserve the chance
No.
against
I don't- I don't
not
think-
not title shot, just to go up against Jacare fucking Souza?
You said,
Jacare deserves it already.
He has gotten title, like, yes, maybe make the winner of Rockhold Weidman fight Jacare, and then give Michael Bisping yet another title eliminator fight. Guess what Mike's going to do? He's going to lose the title eliminator fight,
Shit the
because
bed.
that's what he always does, whether it's against... against Chael. He's had a couple others where, like, hey, Mike, if you win this, you finally get your
Chael,
your
Belfort.
title shot. Belfort
Look,
and someone else,
yeah.
I forget. Vanderlei?
All right,
No.
the Chael fight was arguable.
Oh, Dan Henderson. Can't
It
forget
was,
Henderson.
it was a
Yeah,
draw.
UFC won
that was back in the
100.
day when they were all in their prime. The Anderson fight.
I thought Bisping beat Chael, to be honest.
did.
Well,
He
it was
did.
it was
He did.
arguably a draw.
No, he
All
did.
right.
He won.
We all know the fight had to happen. The rematch between Chael and Anderson. All right, just breaking the fourth wall. All right.
Deadpool.
Everybody did what they had to do. But no, I mean, come on, man, Bisping, dude. Like, he ain't done yet. He beat the spider, of course, the one-legged spider, off. Like, he's he's fucking blind in one eye, and he beat the fucking spider. All right, so give him a fucking last shot, man.
Ramses, do you live under a bridge?
No, I actually live above one. But
Well, because if you
This is a
did
troll.
live under a bridge, you'd be a troll.
did he or did he not beat the spider with one eye?
So does Nick Diaz. Oh wait, no, he didn't beat the spider. Never mind. Ah man, that was
Yeah.
such a weird fight. I thought Silva KO'd Bisping. To be honest,
Should have had that stoppage. 100%.
that
Should
should
have
have
had
been
it.
stopped.
Yeah, but what happened? Who won with one fucking eye?
Who won? The fucking guy who shouldn't have won.
Yeah, let's move on because we're getting off on a weird Michael Bisping tangent here. Final fight, Stipe Miocic. What the fuck? Big underdog facing a guy in Verdum that everyone was saying, oh, you're the best heavyweight of all time. He had won 6 in a row, defeating Nelson, Russo, Big Nog, Travis Brown, Mark Hunt, and Cain Velasquez. Seemed to be going in there without a care in the world, doing his Verdum troll face at the weigh-ins and every interview, and trying to pass out in masks to all the fans entering the arena, which the UFC shut down with the quickness, which is hilarious. Stipe seemed to be taking the fight a lot more seriously. And I feel like recently we've seen it time in, time out. Champions who are big favorites seeming to take their eyes off the fight and putting it more on their legacy and laughing and hemming and hawing and not really talking about the fight as much as they used to. We saw it happen to Ronda Rousey. We saw it happen to Conor McGregor. Your latest victim, Fabricio Verdum, losing the heavyweight belt to, who would have thought, Stipe Miocic, heavyweight champion of the world. He is the champ. I don't know, who he'll get next. We'll save that topic for the next go round. But man, crazy fight, just absolutely starches Verdum, who was coming in. Stipe really was winning the fight, really showing off that reach. And starched him halfway through round 1, won the fight, won the belt. He's your new champ. Chris, what'd you think?
So I've been saving this up, to be honest. I've been thinking about this fight, and I've been thinking about what I was going to say. So, gentlemen, sometimes we get checked. Sometimes you write a bad check. Sometimes you check under the bed. Sometimes you check your tires. Sometimes you get checked by somebody. You know what happened on Saturday?
What
Verdum
happened?
forgot to check, and he got checked by a check hook,
Oh!
and I fucking called it. I fucking called that shit. The
If
second
only
it
Miocic
landed,
was Czech and not from Croatia. If he was
That would've
actually
been
from the
perfect.
Czech Republic.
yeah. The second it hit, I remember like
That was
I
a
was
good
watching it. Thank you. I was watching it with like 3 or 4 people, and Verdum got knocked out, and I stood up and started screaming and like threw my glasses at my wall, like ah! And they're like, "What hit him? What hit him?" And I was like, "Check hook." Like, no bullshit. And we had to wait and sit there and watch. And as soon as we watched it, Miocic he stepped back and cocked his fucking right hand, boom, backwards, check hook. Beautiful. That's all I have to say about that.
Okay, well, I've always held the same stance on heavyweight fights. It's just a bunch of fucking dumb lummoxes. I never bet on a heavyweight fight because it's whoever lands first every single fucking time. I don't bet on them. It's just ridiculous. It's stupid. It's dumb. Like, name one heavyweight fighter who ever had like that touchstone like skill. I mean, maybe Dos Santos for a while. Kane, maybe only because he had the wrestling. But I mean, like, it's always a bunch of. I'll say it, and I don't mean to offend any of the fucking fighters, but I'll offend the fucking fighters. The heavyweight.
What are you, Nick Diaz?
What?
The heavyweight division is a joke. All right.
That's a fugazi.
They go from 205 to what? What's the limit? 265? What the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't put in a 225? Like, what? So, you know it's a joke. All right? Everybody's like, it's just whoever lands first. It's a knockout game. It's set up that way. It's whoever lands first. It's for the knockout. Surprise. Deadpool. Again, fourth wall breakdown. That's why I never bet on these fucking fights, heavyweight fights. So this fight was completely ridiculous. Stipe, KOing Verdum, like, hats off to him, credit. He did do it, like, stepping back. Yeah, check hook, definitely. But
Hashtag check hook.
but it's like so. God, it's just dumb. It's like a bar fight between two like fat guys, except they're in shape and they're training to, like, for this bar fight, and it's like it's gonna come down to like whoever just hits first, and so like it could have gone either way for me. I don't care. I will never ever bet on a heavyweight fight ever. Because it's just ridiculous. Yeah. You go from 205 to 265. What?
Yeah, you do see a lot more KOs, and Stipe hit him with just that. I mean, I don't even think he saw it coming. It was just a perfectly placed right hook counter. Boop. Right
or,
there.
Or was it a weak chin? You don't
jaw.
Even know.
It's actually called a check hook.
And it was perfectly placed. Didn't see it coming. Sent him to a heap. The only question now, I guess, before we wrap up the UFC 198 recap, who next for Stipe Miocic? Verdum says he has earned a rematch because he won 6 in a row before that. I don't like this rematch shit that the UFC has going, seemingly giving away a rematch, to anyone. The fact of the matter is Verdum had no title defenses, and a fighter who has no title defenses and lost the belt does not get a rematch unless it was the closest of margins, like your Lyoto Shogun one, or there's some controversy. Wasn't either here. I think you give Stipe... I think you give him Alistair Overeem next. It's either Overeem or maybe the winner of Kane and Brown. But do you want to really get, either one of those guys? I mean, maybe let Verdum fight the winner of Kane Brown. But I'm thinking now, Chris, it sounds like you are in agreement with Overeem.
It has to be the Reem. The Reem used to be my favorite fighter, and I lost confidence in him because of his track record. I mean, he had 2 knockout losses, then a win, then a knockout loss. And I was like, dude, okay, he's done. Obviously, without TRT, this guy's nothing. Homeboy has had a resurgence. Stopped Stefan Struve, beat the fuck out of Roy Nelson, knocked out Junior Dos Santos, and then knocked out Arlovsky. Give that man a title shot. He actually deserves it. He deserves it more than anyone else at heavyweight. If Kane beats Travis Brown, so what? He beat Travis Brown. If Travis Brown beats Kane, he's on a 2-fight win streak, and he eye-poked Matt Mitrione and then beat Kane. Means nothing. Alistair deserves a shot. Alistair versus Miocic is new blood in the heavyweight division. I like it.
It's going to be Overeem. I'll bet everything in my pocket. Unless, like, Overeem, like, has, like, a fucking sudden gallbladder issue or a kidney failure, it's going to be Overeem.
Or he gets caught sucking Uriah Hall's dick.
if not that, it'll be. You're making me lose my train of thought, you son of a bitch. If not that, it'll be Brown. So Overeem or Brown. That's it. And of course, the bigger draw is Overeem. So they plan this shit like ahead of time. They do. Like, of course, it's fight by fight. Like for us, the fans, the people that watch. But these people have a fucking business to run, and you can't run it like week to week. Right now, it is Overeem getting the title shot, and that's the way it goes. That's the word on the street.
And I'll have one more thing to pass around before we wrap up UFC 198. Seems like all of us are in agreement that the next heavyweight title shot should be between the champ Stipe Miocic and Alistair Overeem. Who you got in that matchup? Honestly, Stipe looks like, a champ who could defeat a lot of top guys at 265. But Overeem recently fighting at a Jackson's, fighting with those game plans, is the more all-around fighter. He's got the bigger toolbox. He has the kicks. He has the knees. He has the clinch power. He probably is better on the ground. I don't know how the reach works out there. I know Stipe has an 80-inch reach, and I'm looking it up now. Overeem also has an 80-inch reach. So both of them are 6'4" with 80-inch reaches. So technically, physically, they're about the exact same size. I'm sure Overeem will probably come in weighing a few pounds more, maybe be closer to 250, and Stipe closer to 240. But this is a good matchup. Stipe with the wrestling background, just the boxing looking on point, landing that counter hook. And Overeem just with the all around. I mean, what can't he do? I'm gonna pick Overeem here. Especially the X factor to me is the game plan. Fighting with Jackson. Jackson's just fucking Yoda, man, and he will figure out a game plan for Alistair Overeem to go in there with and become yet another Jackson's champ.
Well, first off, Jake, I have to correct you. It's not a counter hook. It's a check hook.
Well, it was a counter hook, but go ahead.
It was a counter hook, but it was... Oh, yeah.
You're both correct,
Hey,
refereeing here.
Potatoes, tomatoes.
Exactly.
So, here's how I feel about it. I'm going to pull Ramses. So, if it was Ubereem, he'd win. If it was Soft Reem, he'd lose. It's Mobile Reem. It's Mobile Reem time. Now we have a Mobile Reem. Mobile Reem is straight up murking folks. Just moving around, switching stances, throwing flying knees. He's throwing feints. He's throwing fakes. He's throwing hard punches. He can take a punch. He knows when to cover up. He can shell up when he needs to. He covers the chin. This is the best version ever of Alistair Overeem. And he's going to destroy Miocic and finally get that title.
Like I said, it's a heavyweight fight, so I will never bet money on any fucking heavyweight fight. But honest opinion, just personal, without money involved, I think Overeem will win because...
I love you.
I'm sorry, Jake, man. I'm sorry. But, the average fan can't spell Miocic, but a lot of people know who Overeem is in Japan. Just the average fan, in his homeland across the seas.
The fight was a work, people.
He covers 3 continents. He's a popular fucking fighter, and he's on a streak.
Huge
and
cock.
He is
Cock.
powerful.
Huge cock.
The work, people.
Well, I wouldn't fucking know. I don't know how you know. But that's neither here nor there. But I would have to, if I had to, if someone put a gun to my mama's head and was like, "You gotta bet on this fucking fight," I would put it on Overeem. It's just Miocic might get lucky, but if I were the UFC, I would just pay him to lose. And well, I've already gone too far. That is the word on the street, and I do think he actually is at his peak, the better fighter. But he's getting up there in age, so you have to take that into account, of course. Except it's like, if you were the UFC, who would you want to win? Especially if you're selling a portion of your shit to China already. It's getting to that level, which I hopefully will touch on as the ending point. But yeah, over him all the way. And also, I am a little bit biased because he is a follower of mine on Twitter. That's the word on the street.
And you did bring it up, and we'll go ahead and put a bow on UFC 198. I asked both of you guys before we went live, is there anything else you wanted to talk about? Ramses, you mentioned before we closed it all out, you wanted to talk about the potential sale of the UFC, and me and Pat talked about it real briefly last week. Just basically talking about whether we think it'd be a good thing or not if the UFC was sold. As much as I criticize Dana and Lorenzo, I think they're very competent in what they do, and I am worried that if the UFC was sold, it would be passed into the hands of maybe somebody who just couldn't really handle it as well as them. But yeah, rumors coming out that maybe it's not a complete sale, maybe it's a partial sale, maybe it's a sale to the Chinese media. Dana White, in a hilarious appearance on UFC tonight, said both of these two things within about 15 seconds of one another. First, he says the rumors are false and the UFC is absolutely not for sale. And then he makes a joke about the UFC's valuation and says, yeah, if anyone wants to pay $4 million for the UFC, call me. I'm all ears. So it's like, wait, the UFC is absolutely not for sale, but if you want to pay what the rumored amount is, we will absolutely sell the UFC. I'm not really sure what message you're giving off there. But, Ramses, what did you want to talk about as far as, selling Zoof? I don't know what exactly would go on there, but a lot of rumors, a lot of scuttlebutt circulating.
Yeah, this is nothing but bad news. I hate to bring in like fucking politics into this shit, but China is basically dominating the globe. And they've taken over every American industry they can, because the key to the world, currently, we used to be in charge, but now we're of course in absurd debt to China. What they're doing is, according to anonymous sources, the UFC is going to sell 10 to 15%, which means probably 30%. Directly to fucking China, and it's a saying. It's actually a Chinese saying, from the Book of Han, 5th century. If you give them an inch, they'll take a mile.
They will come. Oh, sorry.
You son of a bitch. Yeah, if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. And that's how it starts, always. That's how it started. That's why we're in, horrible debt now. That's why they own most of the country. China, I have nothing against China. They're playing it smart. They're the masters of the art of war. There's even the fucking book. But yeah, that's the saying. If you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. You give them 10, 15%, which means it's actually probably 30.
Treason! Treason!
It's like Vin Diesel. It's
Yep.
Vin Diesel. It's a Vin Diesel quote. Yeah.
They're gonna own you, and it's like the Arabian, the camel fucking strategy. If the fucking camel sticks his nose in your tent, the body's gonna follow. It's not too fucking hard to understand where this is going. They're just tired, man. You know, the UFC's tired.
You're a bunch of dumb, slack-jawed fools that don't know how the world works.
Why pay 100% when you can pay 50% doing half the job? You know, when you're already set for life, that mindset, this is bad news for Dana, though. Definitely. He'll get paid off. Like, he's
Who
not gonna
cares?
he's not gonna have to
poor
worry about
guy.
money. He's not gonna have to
poor
worry about
Dana.
money ever.
Oh, poor Dana. Rest my heart.
Well,
My heart. Poor Dana.
It's all been building to this. Like, he's gonna step down, take a back seat, just fucking sit on the beach, sipping the fucking pina coladas, earning 15%. You know what I'm saying?
Just sipping on that TRT.
Those are your words, not mine. But yeah, it's the writing's on the wall, people. If you don't see it, you don't know how the real world works.
I don't want the government videotaping my genitals.
China is going to own the world, and it's our fault. You know why? Because we as Americans got lazy and let it happen. But that's not MMA related, so
Not at
Country's
all.
gone, folks. And you, the
Nope.
yuppies, none of you can see it, but you will see it once it finally runs aground completely.
yep, they called him crazy. They're calling me crazy. But guess what?
Treason! 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 Ah! I'm sick of it!
Guess what? History will prove all of us right. And that's the word on the street.
Yes.
I'll tell you what. That would have been the best way to end the show, but I'm not going to let that happen because I'm a narcissist. So
I know.
Do it in the like you already have it like naturally like ingrained, but whatever
Sure.
you're about to say,
Yeah.
Deadpool voice.
Deadpool. I can't do. Hey guys, what do you think? No, I can't do it. I can't
A
do it.
little bit lower, a little bit lower, a little bit lower tone,
What-
and then you got it.
What do you guys think about having fun?
You got it. You got it a little bit lower, but you got
No.
What do you guys think about having fun?
it. Yep, you got it, man.
Thank you. All right. Enough about Deadpool. Nobody cares about that.
I
Back
care,
to the
man.
show. Back to the show. Here's a real question for you guys. Straight up question. I want honest answers. Ramses, don't you fucking lie to me and give me your fucking schlock. Jake, I know you'll be honest. So Miocic Tate is the champion. And I think
I
she's
already
the best.
don't like. I do not like the way this is going so
Shh.
far. But go ahead.
She's the best interview we've ever had.
I might need to edit this out.
She is the best interview we've ever had, in my opinion. She's a good woman, and I think she's a good ambassador for the sport.
Oh, please don't take
Do-
a left turn.
Do you guys think that she is the best champion for women's mixed martial arts? In my opinion, I think so. Because Ronda was a bitch. Holly
ahead,
was
Jake.
meh, and Misha is like, okay. So go ahead.
Is she the best? Right now, yeah. I mean, shoot, she was the Strikeforce champ. She's been around for a while. She has the hotness factor, which sells a lot of tickets. And this Ronda stuff, Ronda apparently marching up to Paige Van Zant and calling her a bitch because Paige congratulated Holly for winning. Ronda apparently is out of her mind. Yeah, I actually would agree. I don't, best champ as far as skill. I think the answer to
skill,
that is obviously Mighty Mouse.
I didn't say skill. I mean the
but
best champion.
But as far as like the best option at women's 135 to be champion, yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well, I agree, except are we talking skills or like just champion vibe, like persona?
We're basically talking about a representative of the sport. Because skills alone, we can all agree, like that all you have to do is watch a fight. You can see skills. We're talking about how somebody represents the sport, how they carry themselves. I think Nisha is the best.
Holly Holm was too farmer girl for me. Ronda Rousey was really hardcore and
really intense.
A cunt.
She was like the Batman, like not the woman's champ we needed, but the one we deserved.
Deserved? What is that?
Exactly.
Some Batman shit? Are you pulling some Batman shit?
That's some Bruce Wayne shit, man. But everybody knows what I said was just the truth. But now we're like in a new era, which is good because that sport needed to evolve. Like if she'd crushed Holly Holm, we'd just be like, all right, this is getting old now. Like, even though it is an accomplishment to remain undefeated and just plow through the division, we see that fucking women's division is evolving. It's going next level. And, like, the next level got beaten by a lower level, which makes it even more interesting. It's fucking divergent. It's
You're talking about an evolving level.
Right. Like Holly Holm beat Ronda Rousey, but then she got beaten by someone who had been defeated by Ronda Rousey. Like
rock paper scissors.
Right.
Tate
it's
beats
like,
Holm beats Ronda beats Tate.
Right.
They all beat my dick.
And with that, we're gonna wrap up this edition of the MMA podcast. Ramses,
One more thing.
And then we'll send it out. I'm going to start playing the music over you like the goddamn Emmys. Wrap it up.
Okay. Yeah. Miocic Tate, nothing but nice. I love her to death. Nothing bad to say about her. I hope she continues to win.
Wonderful woman.
But this is the woman that once got into a fight at a gas station over a spicy pickle. I don't know if you guys remember that tweet.
She sent up some flames at the gas station, attendant. She fucking started some shit for call this number and bitch her out. Like, damn,
what a bitch! What a bitch!
So now it's like Mike Tyson's gone, and the fucking women's division is shooken up, and it's shooken up to where you have your fucking whiskey in a glass with the rocks, and you're just shaken but not stirred. And
last question, rapid fire. I just want a one-word answer. Will Chris Cyborg ever be a UFC champion?
Yes.
Ramses?
At 135?
Correct.
She made 139, asshole. In her last fight. Yes.
Yeah, but why didn't she make 130?
Rapid fire. Not fire. Rapid fire. Yes or no?
I'd put money on it, yes.
Putting money on it, yes. That's a trifecta. We all say yes. Thank you for tuning in to the MMA podcast, the UFC 198 recap. We'll try and do one of these for 199 and maybe UFC 200 if we are able. Once again, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for visiting. TheMMApodcast.com, following us on Twitter at The MMA Podcast. Chris, where do we find you? Where are you at?
I'm at C. Lowenstein. Do not follow me. You won't find anything special.
Do not follow C. Lowenstein on Twitter. Ramses, where do we find you?
It doesn't matter. None of this matters.
It doesn't matter where Ramses is, but he is at the Aunt Jimmy Show. Follow Ramses, follow me, follow Chris. We love the shit out of you, and we will see
can
you.
We do a week on?
And we will see you on Wednesday. Until then,
Deadpool voice.
We go.
Tune into the MMA podcast every Tuesday night.
Got the wild style, always been a foul child. Relax, sucker, I be the coming like Noah.
The MMA podcast, Jake is the host. And since Ramsey's been in a wheelchair, the Aunt Jimmy Show has been on the road. I wanna say John Jones is the host, so I think that I'll pick up the phone and dial 213-457-3380. We got hot takes on the stove. You get blood on your clothes if you're sitting in the front row. I throw on my gi and then I lace the hoops. I'll have Gal lying down cause he ain't the truth. And if Alan wasn't a cop, I'd mention you. And shout out to Ross Finkelstein the Jew. Cause according to you, you're an MMA guru. A Brew Bisbing lost his hands, Count Dooku. If you're a fancy boy, you get a 2-minute slot. Mystery wants a title shot. So listen to the MMA podcast. Throw a high kick, but I block that. Call me Diaz, screaming George, where you at? I want the strap. When you know that I'll never tap. So listen to the MMA podcast. Throw a high kick, but I block that. Call me Diaz, screaming George, where you at? I want the strap. And you know that I won't tap. Mystery. The MMA podcast. Most of us just live and breathe this fighting shit. Shout out to Jake. Shout out to Jake.
Shout out to Drake. Shout out to Drake.